With early access, Kickstarters, and demos, it's really easy to forget that game development is really messy. What we see as consumers is rarely a representation of what a game actually looks like while in development. Localization and polish is rarely noticed unless it's missing. The developers of DarkSwitch offered me access to some unreleased content, giving me free hands to do more or less whatever I wish with. Here's an overview of my thoughts of the yet-to-be-released additions to the game. We will investigate a new improved prologue, go through part of Chapter 1, a new monster, as well as some new heroes and their abilities. There will be good moments, there will be bad moments, and there will be feedback. A lot of feedback. You might worry about biases after watching this video. I'm sure you'll reconsider. So let's get into it. We're introduced to the world of Nili, a world ravaged by a mysterious fog. Controlled by this fog, people went mental. To study and combat the fog, the town of Ellerin was founded, which is where we start our journey today. We are introduced to Mathun, the chief of the Toilers, as well as Etnarch the Tessin, the perceived leader of our settlement. It is the usual spiel here. We're low on resources, food is running out, and we have no shelter. As well as adding workers to the mushroom farm, we will need to produce rations from the raw food that is produced. The kitchen will serve as both a production facility for this, as well as a location for our settlers to be able to grab a bite to eat after a long day of work. We're then informed that one of our scouts has been able to see some wood within the thick forest below. Literally found the trees within the forest. So off they go on their very first mission. This cost some food rations. Another reason we built the kitchen earlier. Scouts will not accept raw food on the journey. I guess it's time to talk about something that's to your benefit as a viewer, because it leaves these nice cinematic shots. But not being able to move the camera faster than this with the keyboard using Rust has me absolutely infuriated. I hear you, hold shift, that should speed it up. Nope, that's not an option. Neither is there a setting for this in the menu. This would be a nice quality of life improvement for later, I guess. Remember, the game is still in very much active development. With the forest scouted, we can finally move down out of the safety of our tree, gather some wood, and bring said wood back up into the tree. Saying this out loud sounds insane. You might be thinking that placing these lumberjacks with as high wood value as possible is the best way to do it, but the gathering circle can be adjusted when you have the building completed, so putting the building along the tree line is, in my opinion, more preferred. We are then informed about the Ignalis outpost falling. Nothing really we can do here, so just accept and take in the hint that things are pretty bad. Now that we are gathering wood, the game starts throwing additional objectives at us. Build a fisherman's thread. Oh right, I forgot to mention it. We sent out scouts to the water to confirm there is water there. Add a warehouse to the lumberjack, as well as gather a total of 50 wood. Luckily, you can hide the objectives overview as they are taking up most of your screen at this point. The game does a pretty good job at giving you production statistics, making it fairly easy to calculate if you need to add more production or not. A fairly common occurrence is the need to make these decisions, some easier than others. These Ignalis refugees approach from the previous outpost that we mentioned. Most of them are madmen and wounded. We could offer them help and shelter, but we just built those, so I think they can find somewhere else to live. Helga over here comments on future decisions being harder and prepares me to make some less popular decisions. It makes me think the game expected me to take in these refugees. Not in my camp. With the fisherman's hut built, refugees refused, and needs met, we are now self-sustaining and can focus on more luxurious matters. Survival is one of these things. The fog is rolling in fast and can only be held back by light. We build these bonfires to provide said lights. They're also called flame guards. I will probably use the names interchangeably going forward. DarkSwitch really likes making up these new names for essentially already named items. Most production buildings produce faster if they are close to a warehouse. The fisherman's hut is quite far from our settlement, and Helga said something about fog monsters eating our fish, so we get to build an extension to our treehouse instead. Clicking the council chambers, we are able to build another platforms below our current. You may also notice we have a lot of other places we can expand on our treehouse later on. At this point I realized why the game expected me to accept the refugees. We don't actually have enough workers to station in the fishing huts. I guess for now, fish will be a luxury item. Occasionally get these tasks that are timed. This one says to produce 200 wood within 3 days. If I looked at the production statistics I showed you just a little bit ago, I would have known that I actually don't have to build this lumberjack here. But alas, the game told me to build another. Oh, right, the Illuminati, the religious lunatics of this world, spreading their light as if it's peanut butter on a sandwich. We're here to punish heretics. Or they are. I of course tell them to piss off in the most kind way possible. The Rangers are our guards. From this encounter, I can tell they're also cowards. I tried the whole I know a guy move. This Legatus guy instantly calls my bluff. He claims we're harboring fog worshippers, not knowing we turned them all away. We're informed that each inhabitant will be put through the machine of truth. We have no say. Apparently the main focus is to not let them know about the Elrond's true purpose. From now on, the Illuminati will be continuously stealing workers from us to perform their investigations, forcing workers to shuffle around a bunch and covering open work areas where needed. With the platform built and Illuminati doing their thing, we can finally build our warehouse for fish. The art style for DarkSwitch is very Frostpunk inspired. Some of these images look like they could have been taken directly from the Frostpunk franchise. Impressive visuals for what essentially is just a small indie developer. It's time we start doing what we came here for, research. For that we will need this engineerium. Yeah, because calling it engineering would be simply not cool fantasy enough, right? All buildings have different requirements. Some can be built anywhere, some can be built on the ground, and the engineerium can only be built directly on the tree itself. With the engineerium built, we get access to the new skill tree. This is where the real game begins. We have multiple different categories, resources, defense, social, and exploration, each with their own tree of upgrades as well. We'll start out with closing the tree immediately as we are broke and can't afford anything. Instead, we are introduced to Rodimer. He informs us that his scouts has noticed a light in the fog, resembling a signal of sorts. While initially hesitant, he is less cowardly than the other rangers and we agree to investigate. While they chase imaginary lights, I start construction on the Ether Watch. This is more or less a weather station, able to predict the movement of the shroud. With that built, the left-hand corner will display the coming day's fog development. Talking about the fog, let's delete this sawmill. The icon above it indicates that it's been touched by the darkness. This happens if you leave a building in the fog without a fire for a prolonged time. I am researching the watchtowers, thinking we might be able to fight off the Illuminati when another briefing from Rodimer comes in. The scouts found a Illuminati procession when following the light signals. The mystery deepens. Shortly after, we are approached by the Illuminati Legatus again, this time specifically asking about what should not be mentioned, the top of the tree. You see, we're doing some fancy science there to attempt to save the world or something. As a response, we effectively do what China does, claim it's a weather balloon. As a reward, we get to enjoy our own session with the Machine of Truth. Having Tessin, the leader of the settlement, taken away... A why? Is he taking a why? The fuck? With Tessin, the leader, taken away, and we're still in control, waiting with everyone else for his return? It's a bit jarring. This whole time I have kind of seen myself as being Tessin. We have been controlling everything within the settlement together with Tessin after all, so who am I playing? Even more confusing is when Tessin, now apparently free from their interrogation, asks about Rodimer's whereabouts without even acknowledging the fact that he's been captured, or released for that matter. Mattoon is letting us... or Tessin, I guess? Mattoon is letting Tessin know that Rodimer was also taken by the Illuminati. Only then is Tessin acknowledging what he went through during the whole interrogation phase. This conversation happens directly after Tessin was captured, so the timeline is slightly jarring and kinda hard to follow. Anyway, our scouts have located metal during our absence. This is the second tier of building materials and is used for, believe it or not, a lot of second tier buildings. We build one of these metal collection points to extract this new resource. Just like Netflix, we discover stranger things. This time, four-legged beasts. That's looking for our food. This is why Helga instructed us not to build the food storage directly on the ground floor. After killing their nest, we get an army of these bastards heading for our settlement. The Rangers... cowards! Blame Rodimer for this mishap. Luckily, we come prepared and have already planned for some watchtowers. With the metal collected, we only need a bit more wood. Unfortunately, these beasts eat wood too, so beeline it for my storage, emptying it only to plot a straight route to my metal storage, emptying that as well. How did they know this is the only two resources I need to actually fight them? Luckily, they're only passing by and continues out into the fog, allowing us to continue collecting our beloved resources. Helga informs us about something called Striders. But Tessin overrules her and decides to build new solar collectors instead. His writing is weird and a bit confusing. Striders is a thing in the game, but it's not really acknowledged as the following objective only makes us produce solar, and Tessin is insisting that Striders are for amusement, reinforcing that they are not to be used. Keep this in mind for later. With watchtowers researched and metal starting to collect again, I feel more comfortable moving out further away from the tree. Most of the research requires a lot of wood, so we'll build a small outpost here with a flame guard, lumberjack hut, and these new air trails. We just finished the research for these air trails. They're more or less cable cars. It's really handy to be using to connect your distant outposts to your tree. And with that, it seems the Illuminati has completed all of their investigations, selecting a handful of people to accuse for being fog worshippers. Fog worshippers. Almost sounds like name calling. Damn fog worshippers. Oh, and Rodimer is missing. I am of course going to fight Illuminati. I fight everyone. We will protect our people. Next slide, they are they are untying Rodimer? Wait, what? We didn't know where Rodimer was. The other captives are at least released, and Legatus again is humiliating my people. Maybe they're implying that Rodimer was disguised as one of the fog worshippers? Next, we are approached by Helga. Helga informs us she was working on the lift mechanism on the upper platform when she noticed Luminarchs carrying bundles of unknown origin into the forest. Tessin, clairvoyant as he is, picks up on this being suspicious and agrees to send out rangers to investigate. Rangers bring reports of bodies. Rodimer, the rangers' leader, is unfortunately one of these victims. The other bodies on the other hand, wears clothing and items associated with the Illuminati authority itself. We confront Illuminati legatus about the mutilated body in the forest, suggesting he may not be Illuminati after all. Ordering the apprehension of the imitator, Legatus eventually makes his way back to the Skywalker. That's the ship they arrived on. He makes it aboard before departing. Helga is kidnapped and also brought aboard of the Skywalker. A short briefing with the Rangers, and we're informed that not only is Helga gone, the fog is also rising in the middle of the day now. Wild music kicks in. The fog meter reaches level 5. I'm not sure what to do. Let's just upgrade our research and wait. Watching the fog roll in is both frightening and really satisfying. While the writing is a bit goofy at times, the atmosphere and the world of DarkSwitch is top tier, man. The fog continues to climb, our final solution being to activate the mechanism at the top of the tree. Tessin suggests to evacuate the settlement from the tree in the meantime, suggesting a few hours in the fog won't actually harm them. Mattoon, on the other hand, has his reservations about going into the fog that is about to destroy our settlement, instead suggesting to stock up on food and gather on the upper platforms. This is apparently the standard procedure for this in this world, but we get to make the decision ourselves. Sending people to their death alone in the forest with some biscuits. Or cozy up in the top of the tree waiting out the fog. Did you say biscuits? Let's go! Looks like we'll need to scout 5 possible locations where we can send people, collect 100 rations of food, 100 wood, as well as 35 solar before we can send out our people into the fog. Luckily, our solar extraction research just finished, so we can get that production started just in time. With the fog moving in rapidly and the evacuation points questionable at best, we get the word from the Rangers that all the mentioned locations are suitable for sheltering for a few hours. After sending the final batch of settlers into the fog, we prepare for the worst. Fog is instantly at level 12 and comes at us like a wall. With the fog around our ankles and a machine ready to go, Mattoon opposes a direct order and stays with Tessin in the tree. Then boom. The fall of Elloren. I guess we didn't do that well. Now fast forward a nondescript amount of time and we are following travelers from Sorago, the settlement some of our inhabitants mentioned before. I wish they would voice over these cutscenes. That would do wonders for me. The new visitor is Volfidis, confirming exactly what we expected. The settlement is burnt down and abandoned. The story repeats itself a bit here. We are again thinking that this is the solution to the fog and the darkness. Time to rebuild as the fog slowly clears. All our buildings are burnt out and in ruins, only supplying us with basic resources when torn down. At this point, I'm already a bit overwhelmed. There is so many icons, I'm struck by selection fatigue. Comparing this to the beginning of the last map, where we had 3 piles to collect to get the basic resources, this is a step in the wrong direction. This selection fatigue is not helped by the annoyance when we realized that each of these buildings need you to click on them and then click twice for every single shift where you would like to assign workers. Every building needs this. Instead of selecting Despair, I decide to go and actually build up one of our scout teams to send them out exploring. Even a simple mark where you have shifts assigned already would help, Mixing it up and clicking on the same location multiple times is so easy. Some good news, scouts have found survivors. Them being insane and incoherent doesn't really matter. I have experience working customer service. Insane and incoherent is normal to me. Valve for this sees the better in these people, however, and orders houses to be built. I like building whatever I can on the tree trunks themselves. Space on the platform feels very limited and houses is needed in large numbers going forward. While building houses, scouts locate another batch of burnt out buildings, filled with half-eaten corpses. This is taking a very dark turn. While doing the write-up for this video, I'm feeling much better about these conversations. We get to experience these two individuals discovering our old civilization. But while playing, I felt very disconnected from these people as they now just rummage through my old burnt out settlement. With that said, Valfudis seems to have an idea of what to do next, but needs access to the top of the tree. We will need to fix the upper platforms and restore the path for that to happen. Nigel makes sure to remind Valfudis that heroes also need to rest. We're able to get the repairs underway, and with the houses built, we only need the healing quarters constructed. The mechanism glows with this awesome purplish color. Fascinating to look at. As we continue, we find more survivors. I didn't include any of these in the earlier prologue, but they were definitely there. They did feel a bit more impactful now as we are actually establishing some sort of connection. But overall, it's more of the same. The same applies to most of what we're doing here. We're building basic resource collection, lumber hut, flame guard and a warehouse. Once the lumberjack is set up, we can also afford to rebuild the air trail. I feel like we're doing what we have already done, because we're doing what we have already done. Being familiar with the map at this point makes it surprisingly easy to end up just rebuilding exactly as we have already built. Some variety would have been nice. Something like start building from the back of the tree, or I don't know, starting on the ground and building up the tree. Burning down everything I just built and asking me to rebuild it identically again isn't very engaging. Side note, I know the game is not directly telling me to rebuild it as it was, but that's the easiest way to solve this. Which means I'm not solving any new issues here, I'm just repeating what I have already done. This drops in out of nowhere. Apparently we are traitors. I think I'm losing the plot a bit here. I thought we were heroes here to save the day and solve issues with the mechanism. But now we're traitors. Rebels, maybe? Wait, it's my wife? I will talk about this later, but I see why this part of the game made me so confused and stressed. It's all over the place. Did she become an Archon when I left? Was she already an Archon? What was our relationship when we left? What even is an Archon? So many questions. I feel like I'm watching the follow-up movie on a book I haven't read and I missed the first 20 minutes of the movie. We could send her bird shit, I guess, but I'll do what I would do in real life. I will deign to reply. Deign. I had to look up the meaning of that word. For a while after this, nothing happens. No objectives, no scouting events, just fog and music. It's nice. We get to appreciate what we built so far. I keep opening the research menu expecting to do some research, but we're so early in the game after the reset we can't really research anything. The reset really throws off everything except your mindset. The sunburst is leaving. He's small. I really don't think the developers are English speakers. Let's move on. The sunburst ironically bursts into fire. Ethereous sunburst. Don't even mention it. Let's send a scouts team to pick up any survivors. Small problem with that. Our scouts were based out of the Sunburst and is no longer in service. We'll need metals and wood for the scout base. Wood we're gathering, metals not so much. While we are toiling away with the needed resources, Vesin and Vaftis discovers the fate of the old settlement. After some time, we have gathered the necessary resources for the scout base. I decide to build it on top of the bottom platform this time instead. At this point, I'm just fast forwarding through the days as my scout base is built and scouts are being fitted. We don't really have the resources to do anything else. With the Rangers back in action, they go back to disappointing me, finding nothing. I think Vafidis is a politician after all. That's one bold lie. Things are not slowing down. We're informed about a girl that was spotted in the fog. Rangers will be sent to look for her. Before looking for the girl, scouts report back after finding the interrogation papers left behind by the Illuminati. It appears we were correct. The Illuminati was up to no good, trying to cripple our defenses. No survivors was found from the crash site earlier. On the bright side, the Rangers were able to recover some of the extra resources. It appears Vafidis wasn't a hero that needed rest. He's just old. This finally gives us the opportunity to start building up our council building, as Vafidis requires particular comfort despite our dwindling resources. Suddenly we're up to 4 objectives. Remember a minute ago when we had nothing to do? Sending our scouts out to look for that girl in the fog, we get the report back. Our rangers moving through the thick fog, lanterns barely piercing the darkness. Men following the enchanting song of a girl, her voice alluring, tempting them further into the fog. At last, they catch a glimpse of her slim silhouette. As they draw closer, the figure grows, rapidly, unnaturally, till it towers over them. In the next instant, monstrous claws burst out from both sides. The girl's body finally split open to a gaping maw of a beast. It is a trap. And with that, we have discovered the newly added monster, the Lullaby. Also the reason why I'm not a voice actor. With only one scout returning and eventually dying of his wounds, we learned that we'll need some watchtowers again. More specifically, an upgraded version that throws bolts. The plan is simple. We'll build a tower, place the bait, shoot it like a rapid dog. The objectives keeps increasing, up to 6 now. The bolt thrower we need is locked behind the fortified watchtower, which is locked behind research level 2. We'll upgrade the engineerium. 75 wood is still needed for the fortified watchtower research, so let's upgrade our lumberjacks to chop shops. That sounds helpful. Things are progressing slowly. In hindsight, should probably have built myself another warehouse closer to the lumberjacks to speed up production by now. But instead, I get my 7th task. People are sick, and I get to take the decision if we'll heal them or not. I'm not a monster, so we'll accept. I'm scrolling through my list of objectives. With 7 objectives, I have 3, that's right, 3 pages of objective. And even with the task split up in 3 different pages, it still covers a good 30% of my screen. This is one of my main pain points of the game, and will come up more than once. Most of the time, what I'm doing now is researching for gas, with that being our first objective in the list, I'm trying to not be overwhelmed, working from the top to the bottom. Most of these objectives makes you send out scouts to multiple locations before finding the needed resource. Gas is no different. The thing with this being so slow is that there should be an urgency here. The lullaby is still out there, hunting. But there is nothing we can do other than wait. Right now, there is no mechanic that can boost productivity or increase military prowess, so we continue scouting, racking up more and more objectives. Most of the story at this point is almost incoherent. The localization is just not there yet. But every now and then we get a hint of what it could be. Like this conversation Valftis has with the toilet chief Brika. We get to learn a little bit more about the seed, what the seed does, and some information about its potential powers. It also hints at Valftis being a scholar, having studied the seed for quite some time. This interaction alone shows what could be, with significantly improved localization. With this being the newly added content, I'm sure localization will definitely improve. The prologue prior to this is written in a much better manner. Back to the fog. It is getting worse. People start seeing things. Hearing things. Defensive towers just doesn't cut it anymore. We need more lights. Another objective. Still haven't been able to complete my other 8 tasks, by the way. Task number 9 is to research and upgrade our flame guards to better defend against the fog. This is likely exactly why tasks pull up so fast. As soon as I finished the discussion about flame guards, we're yanked back to the gas we were talking about before, only to again be let down by scouts not finding the mark. I don't even get to look at the research window in between these events. Frankly, it's incredibly overwhelming. Mostly because getting an overview of what needs to be done requires me to go through 3 pages of objectives. Here's a simple list of our current objectives. We need to explore the territory for gas. The lullaby hunt requires us to upgrade our watchtowers twice. We need to follow the tracks that was found at the foot of the tree. We should increase the comfort for Valftis to upgrade the headquarters and accessing the ability Valftis possesses. Inspect the foot of the tree in search of a place to build a kale yard. Search for metals and build a metal collection point. Heal all citizens from illness. Explore the area for survivors. Research and upgrade our flame guard. It's said that a normal human being can hold up to 7 things in their short-term memory. Some studies citing as low as 4 things. This is why we have objective trackers in all of our video games today. While 9 objectives is just above the number of things most people can keep in their short-term memory, the objectives themselves also hold multiple tasks, and can't be viewed without having to navigate a multi-layer window. I'll say it again, this just doesn't cut it. When I finally get to check up on the Flame Guard research, I'm again reminded that I haven't completed the Watchtower research from I don't even know how long ago now. The game just keeps throwing objective after objective on you. Relentlessly. But we finally found what we're looking for. Gas. We've already researched the vapor station at this point, so we can get straight to collecting the gas. Right after I get this fortified tower research going. With so many of my objectives being explorative in nature, and the research for an additional scouts group being cheaper than the Flame Guard upgrade, I decide to go ahead and increase our scout capacity before unlocking the next Flame Guard upgrade. This will allow us to follow 2 exploration missions at once. Shortly after this, another Skywalker appears. It's a shame, really, that they snapped the camera to this location, but doesn't keep you locked to the target for long enough to make this a cinematic experience. It's more jarring and simply jolts you from what you were doing with no real reward. I even tried to click on the Skywalker again, hoping to get back to tracking it, but it just doesn't work. The Skywalker is sent from Sorogo, with orders to arrest Val for this. Somehow they managed to send a family friend to do this, not realizing it's clearly a conflict of interest. Either way, we can bribe the Sorogo Council with resources or residents. Like the traitor we are, we do none of it, and kindly ask them to piss off again. As expected, the retaliation includes a bombing run on our beloved settlement. Can we catch a break, please? Getting back into the game, most of our eastern side of the tree is damaged, but not completely destroyed. We'll need additional defenses. I tried to build some additional watchtowers, but the Skywalker appears to be leaving peacefully this time, so we should be safe to rebuild what was damaged. Mostly houses, it appears. Interrupted again, we find another metal mine. I feel like these events are constantly interrupting my gameplay. I wonder if it would be better to have the user click on the icon or the objective to trigger these. Interestingly, this mechanic is already in the game. When you're low on resources, you get this like orange beacon. Clicking on it opens a very similar window, allowing you to select if you would like to accept another task or not. This user-driven interaction should be used a lot more. This would make it way easier to depict the context of location. Looking at this interaction, where has the monster been discovered exactly? To find this out, I anyway have to click another button. And I'm sure you missed it, but that window appeared just as I was about to add another solar extractor. You can actually see me opening the build menu here. I can assure you I did not go back to building another solar extractor after this interruption. My mind is so scrambled here, I just keep building watchtowers to defend from the Skywalker bombing raids despite the Sorogo Skywalker leaving a long time ago. With this, the bolt thrower upgrade just never feels achievable. I keep opening the research menu, looking at the red 150 wood requirement and closing it again. I've done this at least 5 times already in the last 20 or 30 minutes of gameplay. Eventually, I end up looking at this Tree Chewer update. Cheeky name, right? With the added benefit of increasing wood production. A long time ago, Helga told us about striders. Helga informs us about something called striders, but Tessin overrules her and decides to build new solar collectors instead. I think this is what she referred to. And while they do look kind of goofy, there's certainly no amusement. Regardless, I opt to not upgrade yet. I'm not sure if the comment from Helga did impact this decision. It's hard to look past this in hindsight. These walkers does increase our productivity of our lumberjacks. Another 5 minutes of in-game time later and we can finally upgrade the bolt tower. Time to prepare for the fight with the lullaby. Before we finish the bolt tower and fight the lullaby, however, our scouts discover another monster. This time it's a ghastly figure, reminiscent of the lullaby but unharmed by physical means. We'll need to study some ancient texts to fight this creature. Yay, another task. At least this one just seems to hang out for a while until we find a way to kill it. Come to think of it, never heard from the lullaby again. I can't even tell you where it is. The ghastly figure occasionally drives people mad enough to enter the fog, never to return. But they're at least not running bombing raids on our settlements. To fight this beast and study these scrolls, we need to upgrade our engineerium to include a scriptorium. This has a prerequisite of upgrading the engineerium once again, from great to supreme this time, with an additional 2 upgrades to go after this. What are they called? Legendary? Godlike? I don't know. We also need the headquarters research, which we haven't upgraded since the game relentlessly keeps throwing new objectives at us. I really want you to feel my disappointment here. We are informed about our citizens being under attack. This window pops up about a lullaby being defeated, and that's all we get. No epic battle. It doesn't even bring me to the watchtower to see the act play out in-game. Feels like I'm playing an amazingly looking settlement survival game while constantly being interrupted by this text adventure experience on the side. They kinda don't even feel connected in some locations. But I think this is new, or I've just missed it before. There is these side quests. Clicking on it, I am informed about people being hungry. I'm a bit confused why people are going hungry when I have 200 raw food and 300 rations in storage. I add a couple of cookeries, but the hunger just keeps increasing. And increasing. And increasing. 3 minutes after adding 2 more cookeries, the hunger has increased from 24 people to a total of 89. Expecting this to improve over time, I go ahead and research the tree chewer instead. Wood remains low throughout this whole time, so this should help improve that. Things are, however, only getting worse. Eventually reaching above 100 hungry people, 5 starving. Is this finally how the game ends? I feel like this has to be a bug. Clicking on the hunger icon highlights all of the individuals in purple that has not yet eaten. Some of these actually inside a cookery. With hunger going from 147 people, with the peak reaching 157, we finally see the amount of people plummet. First to 120, then down to 55, eventually reaching 22. After a brief increase to 54, we see 2 groups of people making their way up the air trail to eat. We are finally back to a lowly 5 strugglers who haven't eaten yet. During this whole time, our population went from 180 people with 150 people hungry to now supporting 220 people with only 5 people hungry. I am at a loss to explain this in any other way than this being a bug. I guess this is what we get for early access, huh? 9 hunger panicked minutes later, we are back to having 0 people hungry. Going back to the lumberjacks, we continue adding more. Wood is constantly below our needs. We also have these tree chewers now. I built these in a panic somewhere. We kind of finally start the research for large flame guards. Remember, these are to protect us from the fog. Upgrading our forest houses to residences instead allows us to cram a few more people into each house. The interface is a bit clunky for upgrading in this large volume. It reminds me of the start of the scenario where you had to clean up all of these burnt out buildings. We have finally worked our way down to what feels like one of the first missions we received. Time to upgrade the council town hall with the headquarters and assigning Valfidis as our head of state or something. Valfidis gives a nice speech and eventually allows us to have a look at our new abilities. The abilities allows us to increase the productivity of our buildings by 29%. Surprisingly specific. We're also able to discount one of the buildings we construct. Both useful abilities that could have come in handy if we were given them earlier on in the playthrough. Valve for this also have a movement speed buff for all citizens, effectively increasing our productivity. I really wish we had this earlier. We can use this newfound power to increase wood production further. Looks like we'll get a ring where the ability will take effect. We just have to left click. Nice. Seeing only 2 tasks in the objectives list is really nice. Even though studying the seed only have hours left on the timer, and we're nowhere close to having enough to research the scriptorium at this point. This mission was likely buried in there with the 9 others we had earlier. Eventually, the timer runs out and nothing happens. After upgrading the Engineerium and eventually adding on the Scriptorium, we get to study the ancient scrolls we found earlier. We are going to weaponize the seed apparently. Valfidis again shines, knowing exactly what to do. All we need is to build our very own Skywalker. Seems we're traveling to distant worlds. Not gonna lie, after doing all of that research, the 150 wood feels like a tiny comparison. The Skywalker pier is built directly attached to the tree trunk. Takes me a while to find a spot that fits. There is a predetermined spot where this goes. There's a light pattern of dots where you need to put the pier. You can see it vaguely while hovering over it. This could be visualized a little bit better. Once the pier is complete, we can construct the Skywalker itself. Valfidis explains his plan. We're going to Ignalis in search of a map to find some ancient ruins. And as the Skywalker takes flight, we have come to the end of the current available content. A huge part of the appeal in this sort of settlement survival builders, in my opinion, is the contrast between chaos of everything going up in flames and the times where you can just feel like your settlement is the most relaxed and pleasant place to live. With that said, the new addition to the story is stressful. Feels like I'm playing a speedrun of the game. There is cool moments in the story that is easily missed. An obvious place to slow down and let the player relax and take in the story a little bit is when the Skywalkers appear. I mentioned it before, it would be nice to have the camera actually locked in on the Skywalker for a little bit longer. Overall, I really enjoy this game. As I mentioned when we started this video, game development is messy. These sort of issues that we've identified, they're exactly what you would expect from a game that is in current active development. Well, these videos usually is a balance in between providing feedback and entertaining you guys. I do hope that you have found at least some entertainment in this video. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much to the developer Cyber Temple for giving me the opportunity to take a look at this early access. I'm really appreciative to that. And if you want to play through this yourself, the full release of this will eventually go out on the demo for the game as well. So you will find a link in the description to go take a look at the game yourself. And that's all I have to offer when it comes to DarkSwitch. I think I'll take a break from the game for a while now, probably until full release is here. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, a subscription really helps me out. You can also like the video. If this is your first video of mine, feel free to look at any of the upcoming videos as well. I'm sure YouTube will find something that you'll like. Until next time, bye bye.